I'll do something.
Act like a buck of monsters.
I'll entertain them all.
Hi, everyone.
That was my dance. I'm entertaining you while we're... Oh, who's this? It's Hagrid. It's Hagrid, the little Lego Hagrid. Is he bigger than a regular Lego? I don't know. Oh, look, there's Harry. Nope, they're the same size. It's weird.
Oh, yeah, not much bigger.
He's just
more round.
Child compared to an adult, so
he has more coat.
His coat is very big and cute.
Anyway,
I like your snow globe so much.
Me too. It's my favorite thing.
I kind of forgot that we both have a really cool old-timey, like, before the movies snow globe.
Mm-hmm. I want to find more.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Be cool.
All right, good. I did enough.
Hi.
Doing this. Oh, God. Okay. Aunt Marge.
Ugh.
Some people shouldn't be allowed
to agree.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to make a noise. Thirsty. What?
Is it on? Okay, good.
I know, we were just sitting here silently. You can't tell.
Harry went down to breakfast the next morning to find the three Dursleys already sitting around the kitchen table. They were watching a brand new television, a welcome home for the summer present for Dudley, who had been complaining loudly about the long walk between the fridge and the television in the living room. Dudley had spent most of his summer in the kitchen, his picky little eyes fixed on the screen and his 5 chins wobbling as he ate continually. Harry sat down between Dudley and Uncle Vernon, a large, beefy man with very little neck and a lot of mustache. Far from wishing Harry a happy birthday, none of the Dursleys made any sign that they had noticed Harry enter the room, but Harry was far too used to this to care. He helped himself to a piece of toast and then looked up at the reporter on the television, who was halfway through a report on an escaped convict. The public is warned that Black is armed and extremely dangerous. A special hotline has been set up, and any sighting of Black should be reported immediately.
How do you think Harry takes his toast?
Ooh.
Butterless or butterful?
I think Harry needs as many calories as he can get.
Yeah.
And butter is the one thing they don't really monitor the amount of. So I think Harry is a full dripping butter toast kind of person.
Mm-hmm. He just pours it on.
Any of our London knowledgeable people can tell us how Harry may take his toast, but
yeah, because I did have that thought. I was like, oh shoot, maybe they don't even use butter. Maybe they use clotted cream like Rachel made. But that seems like such a process.
Yeah. Maybe toast doesn't even mean toast, you know?
Oh no, that's true, because pudding doesn't mean pudding and tea doesn't mean tea.
Yeah, like there's so much we are dumb about on this podcast.
Oh, it's really true. How sad. Well, that being said, welcome everybody.
Hi everyone.
This is Marin.
This is Emily.
And this is
Remember Harry Potter.
And this week's episode of Remember Harry Potter, we will be talking about Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapter 2, Aunt Marge's Big Mistake.
Yes.
So funny.
It's the biggest mistake she ever made.
So good.
Last week on Harry Potter of Remembering, we remembered the first chapter, which is where Harry gets his birthday presents.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
It's like the first time he wasn't like, I hate my birthday.
Yeah.
He liked it. So it's morning. It's the morning of his birthday. And Harry goes down to the Dursleys having breakfast. And they ignore him as always. Dudley is sitting there in the kitchen watching his TV, which is a present for coming home for the summer. Is this what we do?
Yes.
You went to school and now you're home, so you get a present for that.
I mean, that's how I would like things to happen, You woke up, here's a present.
Give yourself little presents all day long.
Oh, yeah.
However, a spoiled 13-year-old with an obvious out-of-control eating disorder probably shouldn't be indulged so much to have a TV and a brand new, you came home from school, so you get a present.
My favorite thing is in the movie, during one of the dinners with Marge, there are 3 TVs playing the same thing.
So that
within the same room.
No matter which direction Dudley's facing, he can still see his program. I love that so much.
They definitely took this present and were like, that is absolutely something we must add to the movie.
They felt the same way about it as I do.
Yes.
So he's been watching TV and eating all day, every day. Harry made himself some toast, and he looks at the TV, and what he sees on there is a news report about an escaped convict named Black. They didn't even give his first name, huh? His name is Black. We get this great commentary from Uncle Vernon about how dirty and scary this Black person looks. And he glances pointedly at Harry when he's like, look at his disgusting hair.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, damn it, I can't do anything about my hair, but I look a lot better than that guy.
Yeah, obviously I'm not that bad off, Vernon.
I took a bath like a week ago. Jeez.
I have a question.
I would love to hear it.
The news reporter tells us that there is a special hotline set up where people are supposed to call in if they see this escaped convict. Is that a number that goes to Muggle law enforcement, or is that a phone number that goes to our law enforcement?
Solid question. I wish I had the answer. You, as our, for all intents and purposes, author, I think I would like for you to tell me what you think about this.
My favorite thing is how ironic it would be if Petunia, because she's so excited about this, she's like looking outside already, like, oh my god, I'm gonna call that a hotline. If she did just reach a wizard on the other end, and she would have no idea because they would just take the phone call like anybody else, and then they'd send people to disapparate to wherever she says. So I would like to believe that it is going straight to the Ministry of Magic.
Oh, me too.
But I don't know that any law enforcement is that well set up to the point where if the Ministry of Magic contacts the Prime Minister and they're like, we have this escaped wizard, we need you guys, be aware, for them to actually have a system in place where Muggles can reach directly to wizards.
So it probably goes to a Muggle, and then
it has to go up and up and up till it reaches the Prime Minister, who then is like, oh, okay, here's your tip.
That sounds like government to me.
Right? I just feel like that is probably what is happening.
Absolutely.
Except in my version, it goes straight to the wizard cops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like your version so much better.
Thank you.
So the news report moves on, but the Dursleys don't. They hate dirty, ugly criminals, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They literally think that they should be hanged still.
Yep.
And Aunt Petunia jumps up and runs to the window to see if he's just outside and she can call the cops on him. They are just the most white people I can imagine.
They're the most yikes of people.
It's like, you're a criminal, let's just hang them all.
Like how unbathed he is. He certainly deserves to die.
He's gross. He obviously committed the crime he's accused of. Right?
Ah.
And now it's the time we've all been waiting for. It's time for Uncle Vernon to go pick up Aunt Marge. And Harry's like, Aunt Marge, no, I don't want Aunt Marge to come.
They literally didn't tell him. And she's coming on his birthday.
For a whole week.
These people are awful.
He's like, this is the worst birthday present they've ever given me. Even worse than the socks.
Yeah.
And so he's not okay. So Aunt Marge is Uncle Vernon's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And although Harry's only ever met her 5 times, each time was so full of horror and abuse that they're all just like seared into his memory, including, but not limited, to this one time that Harry was chased up a tree by one of Marge's many, many bulldogs, which to a kid, bulldogs are big and scary. And it chased him up a tree. And instead of calling the dog off, they let the dog bark at Harry from the ground until midnight.
As someone who is so afraid of the neighbors judging them,
Oh my
I can't believe
gosh.
Petunia didn't stop this.
Well,
Until midnight, a dog barking neighbors are going to notice, you know?
Petunia is very submissive and passive towards Marge.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's gross.
I don't like
Marge
it.
controls every situation that she's in, and she is just as abusive to Petunia as Petunia is to Harry, kind of. It's really gross and disturbing.
Yeah.
So we'll get into it. So now Marge is coming to stay for a week. So it's time for a family let's bully Harry session. So Vernon tells Harry to behave and then he's like, well, I will if she does. And he's like, no funny stuff. And he just means magic. And that they've told Marge that Harry goes to a school called St. Brutus's Secure Center for Incurably Criminal Boys. Which, does this place exist? And if so, why? And also, that's really scary. Nobody should ever go there, even if they are incurably criminal.
Well, yeah, we could spend a whole episode talking about just the premise of a school for incurably criminal boys.
It's really scary. So, which is probably where he would have ended up if he hadn't been able to go to Hogwarts. Because he would have just became incurably criminal.
Yeah.
Living with those people.
Honest.
I just feel like they're so mean to him and they're so abusive that any behavior that he displays, I can't really blame him for. You know, at this point when he's a child, it's the way that I feel about Draco, where I'm like, he's an asshole, but it's his parents' fault still at this point. When he gets older, it will become his own problem, and he really does work through that. But I mean, if you're going to abuse somebody to the point where they're always afraid of you and always wondering when their next meal is going to come from, etc., 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 they will end up being horrible people. You're just training them how to be. It's scary.
Yep.
Ooh, so it's time for Vernon to go after they abused Harry enough. Dudley doesn't want to go because he has some TV to watch. Petunia's going to force a bow tie around his neck. And Harry has an idea. So he follows Vernon to the door, and Vernon's like, you are not allowed to come. And he's like, I do not want to come. However, I have this permission form for the Hogsmeade Village at my school, and I need you to sign it so that I can go. And Vernon's like, yeah, no, why should I do that? And Harry's like, well, it might be really, really hard for me to remember about that jail school I'm supposed to be going to. And what if I accidentally can't remember? And Vernon's like, okay, well, I'll just have to physically abuse you with my fists. And he literally makes a fist and like goes to hit Harry. And Harry reminds him that beating him up won't make Aunt Marge forget what he could tell her. This is the first time, I mean, Harry's always kind of like talks back to the Dursleys and is like really brave, but this is the first time that he's been like, I'm going to use my power really, really like cunningly. Really, really
He's
slowly.
learning from Hermione.
Yeah. So Vernon is like, he's like, but if you sign the form, then maybe I'll be able to remember the school and maybe I'll act normal around Marge. And Uncle Vernon is obviously like really, really angry about this, but he agrees that he'll scrutinize every move Harry makes and then maybe sign the form if Harry's perfect about it. Ugh, it's so awful. This poor kid. Then he slams the door so hard that it breaks.
Literally a pane falls out of the window.
Like, break your own property because you're so mad. That's not problematic or weird.
Yeah.
So Harry decides that if he's going to do this, he better do it all the way.
He's a method actor.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Even in the privacy of his own bedroom, he's like, it's fine. I'm going to really just go for it. So he goes upstairs and he hides his birthday presents. And he sends Hedwig and Errol to the Weasleys with a note of explanation. And before he knows it, Aunt Marge is there. Petunia, I think because she's feeling so abused by Marge right now, she'll use any opportunity to abuse Harry. So instead of just letting him be in his room, which, like, why wouldn't you just be like, why don't you just hang out in your room as much as you can this week while Marge is here? Right?
Well, because we learned that humiliating Harry is Marge's favorite activity when she comes to hang out. And so Marge is probably like, better you than me.
Yeah, Petunia, you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, actually, yeah. So she's like, Harry, come down here and welcome Aunt Marge with us. And Harry's like, oh, God, okay. So he comes downstairs. She yells at him about his hair. She makes him open the door for Marge. Marge barges in, chucks her trunk at Harry so hard that it knocks the wind out of him, hugs and kisses, and literally pays Dudley 20 pounds for some affection.
Well, I think Petunia's paying Dudley to be nice to Aunt Marge.
Was it Petunia that gave him the money, or was it Aunt Marge? I thought it was Aunt Marge.
Oh,
so like
that's even weirder.
It is weird,
oh.
Especially because at the end of this chapter, she goes on and on about what a handsome little boy he is and how he's going to grow up to be all big and strong like his dad.
Is there some incestual tension here?
I'd like to go home now.
Ew.
That's purely speculation, but she hugs him and she gives him some smooches and smidges. And then when he pulls away, he's got $20.
Right.
And so it's like, why are you just handing? I mean, I get it. Like, aunts and uncles give their nieces and nephews money or whatever, but after the hug and the kiss and the smooch feels really problematic.
Yuck.
So then she goes and she kisses Petunia on the cheek. Will you read how that is described? I think that's so funny. And I was like, I'm not going to read this because it's also problematic, but it still was funny.
Petunia, shouted Aunt Marge, striding past Harry as though he was a hat stand. Aunt Marge and Aunt Petunia kissed. Or rather, Aunt Marge bumped her large jaw against Aunt Petunia's bony cheekbone.
Wow. It's weird. So then they all go into the kitchen for tea.
Even the dog.
Harry takes his time bringing the trunk to the room that Marge is staying in because he's like, the longer I cannot be with them, the happier I am. Aunt Marge has brought her bulldog Ripper, which is such a cool name, but not a good dog, who just literally drinks his tea right out of Marge's saucer. Would you ever?
I love that in the movie they added that she just gives him some of her cup. Like in here, she like puts it on the plate. She puts it on
the saucer, right?
But no, in the movie, he's just literally gulping out of her cup. I was like, makes more sense to me.
We learned that Petunia absolutely hates animals, and the dog is just like licking off of the saucer, getting like spit and tea all over the floor, which, so annoying for Petunia. Someone named Colonel Fubster is watching the other dogs. Ripper had to come because he pines for Marge if she leaves him for too long. And Harry, for some reason, had to come back down to join them for tea. I just hate that he's always with them. And I get it. Like, that's Marge is like insisting that he's with them so she can be mean to him. But it's so gross. She's like, oh, you're still here. And he's like, oh no, she's like, you're still here, like living with the family, as if at the age of 13, he should be somewhere else, living somewhere else. And he's like, yes, that's all he says. And then she calls him ungrateful and says she would have left him at an orphanage if he'd been dumped on her doorstep. And Harry also wishes he'd been taken to an orphanage instead of being forced to live with the Dursleys. And he almost says it, but then he remembers the permission form. So he just like smiles at Marge, and she hates his smile so much that she then spends an entire page of the book telling him that he's not getting beat enough at school. And in fact, 99% of all people need to be beat regularly. They need to be given a good thrashing on the regular, is her exact wording. And when she asks Harry if he's been beaten often, he's like, oh yeah, loads of times. And Marge is like, Petunia, you need to beat Harry. And by now, Vernon is a little afraid that Harry might forget about their agreement of the form. So he changes the subject really fast to the escaped convict from earlier. And we see this a few times throughout the chapter where Marge is picking on Harry and goading him. And Harry actually has some leverage this time where he's like, I don't have to be abused. And I love it. It feels so good. It's like that moment of like redemption where I can tell Marge all about what a wizard I am and all this other stuff. And so every time Vernon gets like scared and he's like, let's talk about something else. And I love that dynamic now.
Yeah.
It's very cool and very strong. So things are not going very well. Honestly, it's so bad that Harry's longing for the old days at the Dursleys where he could just hide in his room all day.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Marge, sorry, I got distracted by the recording thing. Marge wants him to hang around all the time so she can yell at him and make him jealous of all the presents she gives Dudley. And then on the third day, so it's been 3 days already of her being there and being awful. During lunch, Marge starts in on how it isn't Vernon's fault that Harry is so bad. Like, she's like, Vernon, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault that he's such a bad kid. It's deep inside of him. And Harry is like, oh, God, shut up, lady. Like, she goes on and on. She reaches for her lunch wine. How often are we having a lunch wine? This lady is always having a lunch wine. And at the same time, literally compares Harry's angel mother to a dog. She says, quote, if there's something wrong with the bitch, there's something wrong with the pup, unquote. And suddenly her lunch wine glass explodes all over the kitchen and all over her fucking face. And Petunia freaks out. But Marge, everybody, has actually in the past, not so long ago, squeezed another lunch wine all over herself before.
I argue that it may not have been a lunch wine specifically, but just that she squeezed something a little too hard because, and I quote, must have squeezed it too hard, did the same thing at Colonel Fubster's the other day. No need to fuss, Petunia. I have a very firm grip.
Emily, what are you saying that she squeezed a little too hard at Fubster's?
Colonel Fubster does many things for Marge, not just doggy sit.
Not just doggy sit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Lots of dogs.
So maybe it wasn't the lunch wine that she squeezed all
she
over
was
herself.
not specific.
She has a firm grip, everybody. It's fine. It might not have been the wine. I will agree with you completely about that. No problem. So I want to know, though, because I thought it was the lunch wine at Fubster's. And I was like, is Fubster a secret wizard also?
Oh.
And he also hates Marge. Is he another one of Dumbledore's plants? Of like, this muggle is in Harry's life, so I'm going to put Fubster on it.
Oh my God.
And Fubster got so mad at her that he also exploded lunch wine on her face.
Okay, I do like that also. I don't know which version I prefer.
I prefer the other one.
Okay.
Your version. But maybe she does just have a firm grip. But either way, Petunia and Vernon definitely think it was Harry. So he gets up and he runs into the hallway and he's like leaning against the wall, just like breathing deeply, reminding himself about the permission form and also how he doesn't want to get in trouble for doing magic at home. He's like, I can use it if I have to, but then I'll get super in trouble at school. The next 2 days, so it's almost the last day, he distracts himself from Marge by thinking about his awesome Quidditch book that Hermione sent him. Every time she speaks, he like glazes over and starts thinking about how to take care of his broomstick. And all this does is make Aunt Marge think that he is, quote, mentally subnormal, unquote, but whatever, because finally it is her last night at the house. They are having a fancy dinner and mixing several bottles of wine in their bellies, and things are actually going okay. Like, no one even insulted Harry through most of dinner. But then there's always dessert. So it's coffee and brandy time, which sounds wonderful, honestly, but not with this group of great assholes already having mixed like 4 bottles of wine into their bellies.
Yeah.
So Marge takes a big serving of brandy. Dudley has his pie. Petunia has her coffee with her pinky up. And Harry only has his hate and fear. He's forced to stay. Why? I hate that they're like, still stay. We have more abuse to dole out on you. And now it's time for Marge to start in again on calling Harry an unbred dog. She doesn't, like, there was no connection of, like, this was the last time that things started to go bad, was when I started saying that he's a dog. So he's valiantly trying to distract himself with Quidditch facts, but this lady does not know when to stop. So she once again starts to insult Harry's parents, talking about bad blood and all that.
And about puppy killing.
Yes! She's like, they should have just killed Harry the way that we kill dogs when they're small and not good to keep. Humans?
Hello?
Marge?
Ma'am?
Excuse me?
Stop.
Are we in the same world as each other? But reading this, I'm like, okay, well, actually, there are a lot of people who feel this way about other humans, about marginalized humans, that they should just be thrown away if they're not going to be a good, white person.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, indeed. So
we don't share those feelings.
We do
Marge
not.
Needs to
Marge can
go
be
to the secure center for incurably ignorant
Marge
people.
can be blown up and sent off to space for all I care.
To space.
So she's talking about how Harry's dad didn't work. She's like, what did he do? And Harry's like turning red, and Vernon's like, he didn't, he was unemployed. And she's like, of course he was unemployed. And then Harry's like, oh my god, he was not unemployed. And the Dursleys are horrified by now. So Vernon tries to distract by offering more brandy. And he does finally tell Harry to go to bed. Like, he's like, boy, go to bed. But Marge's drunk ass tells Harry to stay and be abused some more. So she starts in on how he shouldn't be proud of his parents because they got themselves killed in a car accident, drunk, I expect. And I'm sure she threw up a little bit when she said that.
Burping.
And then Harry just freaks the fuck out. He screams that they did not die in a car accident. And when she won't quit and starts trying to keep going on, she starts swelling and swelling. And when I mean swelling, her literal body is swelling up. Her face is stretching out. She can't talk anymore. Her belly and her chest get so big that all the buttons pop off of her jacket. She's getting bigger and bigger around the middle. And then not only that, she starts to like rise up into the air, and she gets so big and so round that her little fingers turn into like sausage type of things. And eventually she's just a great big ball with like little hands and feet and a head poking out. And Vernon tries to grab her to pull her down. And the dog freaks out and starts biting Vernon. And he even starts lifting up a little bit. You guys, this is complete batshit insanity.
I have a new superpower that I want.
Being able to blow up or being able to blow somebody up?
Blowing up people when they are being ridiculous.
Like horrible. Like it has to get to the point where they're like, this is the most severe punishment. And it's so satisfying.
I'm gonna float you away.
It's so...
And you're gonna look ridiculous.
I think of how embarrassed she is being so... round. Vernon is screaming, trying to pull her back down. Ripper bites Vernon. It's utter chaos by this time. So Harry just runs from the room. And this visual that the book paints is so satisfying. He runs from the room, and as he's walking toward the cupboard, it just flies open. So that thing has been locked and closed all summer. And his magic is like, fuck that. And it just flies open. He grabs his trunk and chucks it toward the front door. He runs upstairs and he grabs all of his books and Hedwig's cage and all of his school stuff in his presents. And he runs back down to fucking leave this place. And Vernon goes and tries to stop him. And I can't decide if Vernon is trying to stop him so that he doesn't go... tell everybody how bad it is, or he knows he's supposed to keep Harry there, and Petunia has been like, we have to keep Harry. Like, why do you think he tries to stop him from leaving? I
think it's because they've already gone through needing to seek someone's like medical attention for something due to magic, and that was so easily concealable.
Okay, so
like he's
say,
like, Harry, you need to fix this, because think of what is Vernon gonna do to help her.
You're right.
He's
says
gonna
put
have to
her
make
back
a
to
big
normal.
scene. He's gonna like that's exactly what they don't want, is something unusual to be tied to them. He just wants Harry to fix Aunt Marge. He doesn't care if he leave. Like, he doesn't care about Harry.
So he does say, you're right. He says, put her back to normal.
Yeah.
But do you think that if Harry had put her back to normal, which Harry doesn't even have the ability to do, he doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But if he had and then like ran away, they would have just let him go.
Yeah. They're not going to send anyone after him.
Ugh. But something beyond repair has snapped inside of Harry Potter, and then this happens. And will you read the rest of what happens? It's like after Harry is like, fuck you.
Yeah. It says, but a reckless rage had come over Harry. He kicked his trunk open, pulled out his wand, and pointed it at Uncle Vernon. She deserved it, Harry said, breathing very fast. She deserved what she got. You keep away from me. He fumbled behind him for the latch on the door. I'm going, Harry said. I've had enough. And in the next moment, he was out in the dark, quiet street, heaving his heavy trunk behind him, Hedwig's cage under his arm. Oh. So Vernon doesn't even try to stop him once he pulls out that wand. Vernon's all right.
The magic is too scary.
Yep.
That sweet baby angel. The hell yeah, Harry Potter! Woo! Get that ant up in the air. She's a nightmare.
It honestly is so horrifying.
The way, and I did not really cover this in my notes, but the way she talks to Dudley in that like second to the last page, where she's super drunk, and she's like, Dudley, you're just growing up to be so big and handsome. You're going to be just strapping like your dad. And I'm like, what is happening in this family?
It's gross.
Like, obviously she's like an old, like, single lady, which, like, props to old single ladies. Like, give me that. Like, that's awesome. But there's something not okay. And maybe that's purely conjecture. But I'm like, that doesn't seem okay. Nothing seems okay with this lady.
It's gross.
And I agree with Harry that she deserves it, and she got what she deserved. Mm-hmm. Anybody who is that cruel and hateful and spiteful and is purposely keeping a child in their presence so that they can abuse him.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, blow her up.
Oh, yeah. Send her on her floating way away.
Goodbye. Mary
Very
Poppins
goodbye.
can find her and fix her.
If she wants.
Mary Poppins wouldn't, though. Mary Poppins would be like, fuck you. You are terrible. I'm a nanny. I love children. I take care of them. You destroy them. We are not the same. You can stay. Goodbye. She would just send her still even further.
Just kick her.
What's our chatty chat? Oh!
Are you like a little bear trap?
Feet.
Are you a little bear trap?
My feet completely once again went on meowful. I'm really sorry. That was a nice place for my feet to land, though. It was soft.
Okay, one more time. Butter is worth getting in trouble for. I get in trouble over butter frequently.
Oh, no.
Rachel, what's going on in your house?
Please tell me what's going on. What's Bobby? Is he keeping the butter from you? I'll fight him.
We'll send you some.
Yeah.
Secret butter.
I have so much butter in my fridge. It's one of the only things I buy every time I go to the store.
Aunt Petunia might remember him from the death of her sister. Might remember who?
I don't know.
Who did we talk about?
Buster?
Maybe.
What's his name?
Bubster. Buster. It always amazes me that the Dursleys don't do everything in their power to get rid of Harry. Want to go to Hogsmeade? Sure, go away. Want to stay with the Weasleys? Great, go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Vernon was like, I'm not going to sign your thing. Just another way to, like, make him terrible.
Yeah,
He's like, why should I sign
you
that?
Want? No.
Exactly.
I got pulled into a meeting and missed so much. Oh no, Lisa.
Aww.
I'm gonna have to hop out shortly. Oh, everybody's wrapping up work.
Oh yeah, it's the end of the day. we did a late sesh today.
I hate Marge, but I do like a lunch wine.
Oh well, I mean, I'm not saying anything negative about a lunch wine. I just
don't knock it till you try it. Marge doesn't deserve lunch wine.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like somebody like her, that's a dangerous person to have a lunch wine because then she's gonna have a dinner wine.
Yeah, dessert is notoriously troublesome for Harry. First, the Dobby trifle Maldus.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Bye, Aunt Marge. Jamie, I too love lunch wine. I think she has to be deflated.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that she has to be deflated.
I love that too.
Yeah. Hopefully they deflate her ego a little bit with that one too.
Oh, snap.
Because I don't ever see Marge again.
No, but they do mention that they had to deflate her.
Yeah. Marge and her aggression clearly can't handle it, though.
Nope.
Busy lifting brandy. Willy Wonka's going after the adult market.
She just needs to keep burping.
Yes, Joshua, all she had to do was burp and come down. Amen to us old single ladies.
Yeah.
JK, I'll stick around for the last little bit.
Yay.
Sirius Black. Oh, that Petunia might remember Sirius from the wedding.
Maybe.
If Petunia went to the wedding, I guess.
Yeah, maybe she does remember him. That's
that
interesting.
Would be weird.
Huh. We should do a Patronus about that.
The Aunt Petunia remembering question. Thank you. He is loose and it was in the news. Aunt Petunia looked out the window as if he might be out there. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
That is an interesting thought. I haven't ever thought of that before.
I can't imagine Petunia would go to a wedding. Her and Snape were too bitter to attend.
They were, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love Justin. They had their
I hate James Club going on.
There's this video Justin Reed's made where he's in the shower. He's as Snape. He's sitting in the bathtub and the shower water is just pouring on him, and it's like Snape wondering why he took Polyjuice Potion to go to Lily's wedding.
I saw that, but I don't get it.
To me, it's dumb. Like a headcanon of him. Snape took Polyjuice Potion, went to the wedding, and now just can't handle it. Has to sit in the bathtub for an hour with the shower and just in his clothes.
Yeah, fair.
I died. You're not the only one, though. I had like 4 people who were like, this is funny, but what does it mean? And I was like...
I was trying to think of what character would have been like scarred from that experience. Like maybe he like dressed up as someone and then someone got too...
No, I think it's just him being too sad to go to their wedding.
All right. He was accused of telling Voldemort her sister's location. Is that true?
Yeah, because it was Peter. Wait, who was accused? No.
Sirius was accused of telling Voldemort about Lily's location.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Well, and that's so then they think that. So Peter told everybody that Sirius was the
secret keeper.
The secret keeper, and
right.
That's why Sirius tried to kill Peter.
Right. Petunia and Snape had matching I Hate James t-shirts. Big agree.
And she hates Snape, so she's like, ugh, get it off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I don't even know what else to say. That was some pretty messed up shit.
Yeah, Marge can go float her merry little way wherever the fuck she floats to.
Bye.
I don't care. She's done, canceled for sure.
I wonder if that's that like rage magic that Harry was casting is one of those that it doesn't just like fade away after a while. Like the Ministry has to find her and they have to deflate her because it's like, sorry, this is too powerful of magic to just let it fade away on its own. Because I'd be like,
God.
just let it run its course, you know?
Right.
After a while, she's gonna deflate.
As Harry calms down, she deflates.
She'll slowly like fall to the ground, you know, and then she'll just plop down in somebody's front yard up in London. And
well, yeah, I guess the difference is that she doesn't get let outside.
Oh, she's just
in this
in.
one. She's just
That's
bouncing
true.
around the dining room ceiling.
I love the movie how she's literally off into the sky, like Mary Poppins, like Peter
the
Pan.
Cow over the moon.
Yes, she's just floating away, and that's so funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, she just has to be in the Dursleys' house, all blown up.
Yeah.
Which probably like made Vernon and Petunia so mad that magical people had to come into their freaking home.
Oh, absolutely.
They're so angry about it. And, you know, there was like some sort of like obliviate spell on Marge so that she can remember the whole experience. But man, it's really satisfying.
Yeah.
So
I am jealous of Harry's packing ability. He grabs 3 things and he is good to hit the road.
You know, when I was a kid, I had fire anxiety. And so I had a backpack next to my bed that was just full of all my essentials because I had to get out of there fast. There would have been some stuff I missed, but I had my essentials. He just doesn't even have anything.
He just doesn't own anything.
Trunk,
so boom,
pillowcase, cage.
Yep.
Let's go.
Done.
I'm ready.
I do love that he like actually leaves though.
Yes.
You know, when you're a kid, you're like, I'm gonna run away.
Oh yeah, and
Harry really's like, fuck you guys.
Well, he's
bye.
13. Like, I really feel like I'm gonna like I'm on the fence over this like thought that I have about it because I'm like at 13 he literally is still a kid, but he's also like 13 is a big kid who at that point gets to say, I will not be treated like this anymore. And that's why I believe that a lot of people who've been really horrible to their kids their whole lives, and then they're surprised that their kid acts like an asshole and doesn't want to be around them and like wants to leave all the time as a teenager. I'm like, that's because you made them feel like they didn't want to be home ever when they were kids. And so I'm like, at 13, that's completely a normal age to be like, I'm leaving. Literally, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. And as far as I'm concerned, if they've been raised that way, that's fine. Let's help him find a new home, foster care, whatever, other family members. But that's a perfect age for a child to be able to stand up for themselves, finally.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I wonder what Harry would have done if he didn't accidentally beckon a magical bus to him. No?
I don't know.
Like, would he have gone to Mrs. Figg's? Would he have just, like, sat there and wait for Hedwig to come home and, like, sent a letter to
I don't think he would have gone back.
Like,
I can't see him walking back into that house of his own will. Even though a lot of kids do, they'll run away and then, like, a few days later they'll come back. And it'll be really sad for a while, but I can't imagine him going back because he'd be like, I have this whole other world. I have the Weasleys.
Yeah. I guess he probably would have, if he got desperate enough, he would have just started casting spells until like a ministry representative showed up and been like, hey.
That's true.
Finally.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely can never see him walking back into the house on purpose.
Yeah.
So totally he would have been like, nope, I'll figure out a way.
Yeah. Well, because I think in the next chapter he is like, I guess I'm just gonna have to cast some spells and avoid the ministry and be on the run or whatever. Which, like, initially I get that train of thought, but then it's like, actually, I need adults.
Yeah. It's hard though. It's hard for a kid like Harry who has never gotten help.
Yeah.
From any grown up.
Anyway, we're gonna be back next week with the third chapter of Prisoner of Azkaban, which is called The Night Bus. So we'll see you guys here next week for that.
Until then, we're going to go record a Patreon-only Patronus videos. Patronus video-sode.
Cool.
I'm keeping it.
Okay.
And if you want to see that, come join us on the Patreon. And you guys are awesome. We're grateful for all your support.
Mm-hmm.
And until we see you next time, let's create something magical together.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I think every week I say that and I say, I'm going to draw that. And then I always forget to draw. Because it's a cute little.
Oh, that would be a cute, like, little
thing.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Do you guys want that on a T-shirt?
Let's create something magical together with like a little Remember Harry Potter, or like we could put the Remember-alls on it. It's really cute.
Expecto Patronus said he was accused. Right. Okay. She got drunk, high, and lost weight. Good idea, young, cautious Marin. I have a fire extinguisher in the hall.
Yeah, I was super worried, you guys.
Mm-hmm. Bye, Rachel. Do fire extinguishers expire? Mine are old. I wonder if I should replace them.
They do.
Yeah. I think he would have taken a bus or a train to London. Smart.
I hope so.
At work, we have to replace them. Mm-hmm. Great job, ladies. Nice talking to everyone. See you soon. I would love that on a T-shirt. Sounds good. Same here. Thank you. Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
I love you guys.
All day, all afternoon today.
I know. That was so fun. And you guys were all here for us.
Yeah.
I loved it. Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Chapter 2.